My name is Jeffrey Zeizel, and I'm from the hub of the universe, Boston, Massachusetts. I do remember a couple NBA players in the 70s on the Knicks, some maniac driving by in a Subaru. You know, when the car engulfs you, that gives new meaning to the term hot rod. If I had a little hammer, I'd give it to my friend Andy Dufresne. I'm gonna like that guy. Let's see where here we go. Oh yes. Very simple. It's a smattering of wires about. I can see it's flat, but don't worry, it's only flat on the bottom. Once the sidewall of the tire is damaged, you are in big trouble. My job, actually, when I'm not messing around with cars, is I'm a mental health professional, and I actually do a lot of work with people who are dealing with trauma. I have several masters from Columbia University, and I do a lot of work with law enforcement. So when there's events like shootings, hostage takings, kidnappings, you know, the fun stuff, they send me out and I do debriefings for these guys, and we help them reduce their trauma. One of the other things I do is actually I work with professional athletes doing sports psychology. I help them achieve peak performance. I've had a lot of interesting cars in the past. When I was in college in New York City, I purchased a 1964 Jaguar Mark II, which is a predecessor to the XJ6. It's a sedan, often referred to as the doctor's car. And I remember my dad and I drove to Brooklyn to pick it up from a friend. And I remember saying to my dad, "Hey Dad, should we check the oil before we drive it?" "Oh, no, you're fine, you're fine." And on the ride home, on the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, the car actually caught on fire. I knew I was in trouble because when I turned the radio on, smoke started coming out. And I know it was the 70s and it had some hot music, but in fact, it really wasn't that hot. From that point on, I've always been interested in cars. Of course, I prefer them not to catch on fire as I own them. I've had several Triumphs, TR6s, which are also, of course, English sports cars. They had 6-cylinder engines. I've had a Porsche. I've had some Alfa Romeos. I've had some, my oldest one was a 1959 Ford Fairlane. We used to call it the Batmobile. It was black, had big taillights in the end. Beautiful day. It's great to have a rag top. On a day like today, the sun is out. Let's take the top down. Here we have a 1978 MGB. MG actually stands for Morris Garage. This car has, the car company has actually gone through several transformations of ownership. It was once just Morris Garage. In the 70s and 80s, it became part of British Leyland. 1980, the company went bankrupt. They reorganized. Currently, this particular car, the MG badge, is owned by Shanghai Motors, and believe it or not, they are making the MG in Shanghai, in China. So it looks like if you want to be a true Englishman, you actually have to move to Shanghai, buy a English car made by a Chinese company. One of the tricks in the car world is to actually take a magnet and run it along the side of a car, and if the magnet does not stick, it means that they put body filler, Bondo, which really is not a preferred thing, because once cars have a lot of Bondo on it, sometimes unless it's done properly, you'll see a lot of imperfections on the car surface, and you'll also have ongoing problems with rust. You want to check on the wear of the tires, and one of the most effective ways to check to see if you have tire wear is to take a penny and put it upside down on the tread, and if the top of Abraham Lincoln's head is touching the tread line, it means you need to replace those tires. This car has several colors, and it's not that they've been working with Timothy Leary using hallucinogenics. It's because the car, in fact, has been painted several times. It looks like, based upon what we can see here, it's almost like doing a forensic evaluation. It looks like there's a previous yellow paint and white paint. The rubber bumpers, these were implemented after the guidelines in California, and the U.S. Department of Transportation, DOT, said we need to have safer cars. Interesting, the MGs and a lot of cars actually keep the battery in the back under this metal plate, which I can't really open right now. But take my word for it. If I had some tools, we can improvise. But yes, I can tell you, the front tire is indeed flat.